Am I here? Happy Thursday. My life is just tripping. We're talking about some pause for bad connection. My Wi-Fi good. Don't play with me. Instagram. Not today. Okay. We made it to episode 10. 10 episodes. I am honestly gagging right now. I made it to 10 episodes, doing this every Thursday. I'm so excited. Yes. I love when the girls be on time. I prepped it like 5 times. Okay.
How are you? Girl, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
How are you?
Oh, so do you.
Love
Thank
to
you.
see it. Oh, you have such a pretty smile.
Oh, well, you know. So,
You know, you already know that though. Well, first of all, when I thought about this show, you already know I had to ask you to come on. I think your journey is super duper inspirational. You definitely inspired me to kind of, when they don't want to give you a seat at the table, you make your own. And in doing so, you making your own opportunities. You started getting the opportunities that you were looking for. So that's a whole testament in itself. And I truly want you to come on here and share some insight
Well,
on your experience. So just start with, how you
I started in the
industry.
streets of Atlanta. Like, at the time, my ex, but we ain't going to talk about him. He was my videographer. And I would go in the street and I would just do interviews. And it's funny because, like, LA, you can find a lot of streets where people are walking around like that. In Atlanta, the folks is black. We ain't just walking to be walking, especially not in the hot sun. So I would go to Edgewood, right. Because that's where, the most community was at. And it's funny because the people, if you see, all my work is still on the internet, by the way. I refuse to take it down with my media outlet company that I started because I need people to understand, no, this really was out the mud. And if you see in my interviews, you will see my first people I was interviewing was homeless people because they were the only people that were out there. And, I was like, okay, they got an opinion, so I'm going to interview who's out here. And I would just interview them. And I was just extremely consistent, not getting paid, still had a 9-to-5, which I'm considering still going back to now because freelancing is a broke road. But anyway, so yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. It's tougher than what people think it is. I think when people start seeing you like on TV, they start seeing you like hosting networks, they feel like that automatically comes with a bag. And it's like, it's like, no, you didn't make it.
Oh, you made it.
And to be completely honest, my first year graduating college at 21, I believe that was my peak of everything I made since I've been in the entertainment industry. So I made more money at 21 than I'm making now, period. I don't care what no one says. But, I was in politics, so like, but whatever. The point I'm trying to make.
I remember the first time I met you were on the red carpet at the LOL Comedy Honors. That was the first time.
Yes.
And you had your platform, Mad Talking.
But like, even that, but people don't understand the sacrifice and the hustle it took for me to just be here and talk to y'all. And that's why I refuse to give up, because I put in so much work. The LOL Comedy Awards was in New York. I lived in Atlanta. I couldn't afford a flight. So I drove for one night. Mm-hmm. I drove for a carpet and then turned my black behind around and drove back to Atlanta. And under a 24-hour turnaround time. That's how hungry I appreciate it. And girl, because I was getting dressed in the car, like, trying to get things together so I looked like presentable. And what I will say, like, that hustle right there is what made my foundation so solid. So it's hard for me to get into the industry now and allow the no's and the rejection to even get to me. I'm like, I drove 14 hours putting makeup in a car to jump on the red carpet just to drive another 14 hours back to where I come from. That's the type of hustle that got me in this game. I would do different red carpets. I didn't care where it was. I'm like, okay, if I had that time frame, I'm driving. and I'm out. And I remember just doing that like constantly. And I was in the paint. I was in a zone because at that point I didn't have a resume, you know, and I knew that my resume and my future depended upon my hustle. If I don't do this hustle right now, I don't eat tomorrow. So you better figure it out. So that was my mentality. So I just started doing that. And then as I got bigger, you know, and going and getting like, you know, different red carpet requests, then I started like competing and hosting workshops. And then when I started competing, I was able to meet executives at different networks. And thank God they all help me still to this day. So yeah.
I would say one thing I love about you that you really instilled in me is that hustle, because I'm a hustler too, but I think me wanting to be a host, I never took it as far as that, because once I see that it's like I think it's a certain level of passion you have to have. Like, I'm very passionate about the entertainment industry, period. Like, my 9 to 5 is in entertainment, but it was always me figuring out what I wanted to do. And I think the last 2 or 3 years, I started saying to myself, I actually do want to host. This is something I want to do. But to see how you started, I don't think I could have done that. So I want to, like, what fueled that? Was it just the passion? Like, what about the industry that you
I'm gonna
said,
say this, because it's not. It wasn't just the passion of pop culture. It wasn't just the passion of having a show. I feel like for a long time, I didn't have the resources necessary in my life. And I found myself always being overlooked because I didn't have resources. That makes sense? I found myself always sitting in the background because I didn't have the money and I didn't have the resources, or I didn't grow up in the certain, you know, the schools, and I just didn't have the traditional things that the average person would have to be successful. But I always had God, and I always had my foundation rooted in God. So that hustle came from, you don't get to tell me where I get to end up. I understand these were the cards I was given, but you don't get to decide how high I fly. So when I approached this host thing, it wasn't just about pop culture. It wasn't just about TV. I was proving to the world that you don't get to decide just because I don't have the money that I can't get there. You don't get to decide that for my life. And I would never allow people to decide how high I fly. And I'm going to stand on that 10 toes. And even it's funny because I find myself even now, like, because people think like the higher you get, the easier it gets. No, it actually gets harder because you have to adopt new ways to get to the next level. What used to work for you back in the day, what used to work for me and how I used to hustle back in the day, it don't work no more now. It was necessary for that season for me to be able to get my foot in the door, but it's not what's going to keep my foot in the door. That makes sense? So with all that being said is, I don't know, once I realized that, and I got in here and it got harder, that fuel came back, where I'm like, you don't get to decide. Because I was homeless before. And when I say homeless, I'm talking real homeless people. I'm talking about I slept in my car. I woke up in my car and slept in my car. That type of, I wasn't bouncing in people's houses. And I did it over 7 months of a time. I was getting my showers in the gym with my gym membership, and my stuff was in the storage. That type of thing. To heat up, I had to cut my car on. Messed up my battery for doing that. Like, this is, people don't understand, like, the sacrifices one makes. And because of all those sacrifices, that's why my mentality is my mentality now where I'm at, because you don't get to decide, because I put it all on the line. So you don't get to decide how high I fly. I get to decide that. And through my sacrifices.
Right. And it also speaks to people who make excuses for why they can't do something. Because, like, even when people say, oh, I can't do this, I'm like, girl, I got to where I am by being consistent and just working. Like, when I left the post office, I had no industry experience. All I did was just hustle to get there. And people don't understand. You have to start somewhere. And I feel like
people, and let me tell you something about this shining thing, because we live in the shining area. People love to shine. People love for their egos to, you know, feel more entitled, because that's what we're in a generation of entitlement. People feel like, oh, I deserve, without putting in the work for it. And that's the reason why I can never hate on my fellow man or my fellow sisters, how high they go. Because I don't know what their sacrifices were. And I can only imagine, because I know what my sacrifices were. And I'm sure people probably be like, oh, Shy, she gets everything. No, the frick I don't. No, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think I get rejected more than I get accepted. No, I don't think I know that for a fact. So my fight is always, no, they don't. They don't. And one thing about me is everybody knows
They
me.
don't
I'm
see that
very
though.
transparent. I would tell the people, oh, I just took an L. You know what I mean? Because I don't give a frick because I know at the end of the day. But I don't really care though because, girl, I
I'm
know
the
I'm going
same
to win
way.
in the end. So I don't have to hide. I don't have to put on a facade. I don't have to tell people I don't gotta like that. You come to Los Angeles with me, you're not going to be in the sky rise high top apartment. That's not where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like once people start being honest with themselves on this journey and why they're doing what they're doing, then they will see more success. But as long as they're hiding behind, oh, I want to shine, but I ain't put in the work, and I mean, that's cool, but
Or trying to get on by knowing people. Like you put more emphasis. Like yes, you should network, but trying to put more emphasis on
yo,
just
that's
meeting
a
the right people so they can
nepotism.
get you in
That
the door
networking
instead of
thing
just
is a
doing the
real
work too.
thing. And yes, it
I
can
noticed that.
benefit you, but at the end of the day, let me tell you something. When you stand in a room with an individual like me, it's going to be your disadvantage. I'm telling you right now. Because when I talk to that person, I'm going to pull out my workload and I'm going to say, look, I can guarantee you success because I'm passionate and ain't nobody more passionate than me. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be careful with this whole not working hard. We're just going to do the smart work and not the hard work. Because let me tell you something. The moment you decide not to work hard, there's a next person coming right beside you that's willing to put in all on the line. And they will take your spot. And
I'll eat you
I always,
up. And also, the higher you go trying to get by on that, it's gonna be a point where you're gonna be
girl,
exposed for
cat.
how you don't know what
It's
you're
going to be,
doing. You
you're going
don't
to
know
be
your
exposed as
industry.
cap. And that's the
You
reason
have no
why
idea.
it's funny. Like, I'm glad that you like brought all of this up because I went back to my roots. So a lot of people don't know me from Mad Talking. They just know Shy from the TMZ era and then that. You know what I mean? They don't know the Shy entrepreneur. Oh, she was in the
Yeah.
mud and just kind of like, how we going to make this work? And what I realized is I felt like I reached a plateau where I'm like, I don't really understand this business and how it's working. So go back to my roots. Start doing the work every day. It's going to eventually just flow. You get what I'm saying? So I was like telling myself because, I'm not going to lie. One thing about me, I'm very like self-reflective. You can get a little Hollywood once you start getting things. Yeah, you get comfortable. And through the comfortable, honestly, is the biggest threat to success, comfortability. Because once you start getting comfortable, you start kicking your legs back and you think you got it and you think you got time, it's the perfect moment for you to fall. It's the perfect moment to catch you slacking, right? So
Yep.
I felt myself getting a little comfortable. Like, I'm just going to wait for my next gig. I'm going to keep pitching. And then my next gig is going to come and I'm going to be straight. And I'm like, you're going to be straight. You say you want a talk show, but you're not talking every day. I need to hear you start talking like you did back in the day. And I was like, yo, I think I started feeling myself. Let me calm it down. All right, God, I heard you.
That's literally how I thought when I started this. I was like, oh, I got my job at BT. I can network within a company to get opportunities there. It was like, girl, no, you never was that girl. You would do your own thing. And I got that from you. That first conversation we had on that red carpet and your energy and how it's like a mother scolding their child. You were just like, because I was just like, yeah, I've been applying to this. I've been trying to do this. You was like, girl, do it yourself. Get a camera, get this, get that, and do it yourself. And I was just like, myself. Like, it was so unheard of. But every time I get to a point where I can't do something, I
And you know
remember
what's
that. Like,
crazy?
no,
I was going to, before I even did this
I
interview,
kid
I
you
was
not, I think
like,
about that all the
when you
time.
hit me up, I'm like, this girl, because it's crazy how like you're saying you're inspired, but I'm inspired by your journey because I remember where you was at. I remember. One thing about me, I don't forget certain people. I'm never going to forget, and it's
Oh,
obvious we didn't
girl.
forget because we connected with each other right afterwards. But I remember but you
And
were saying,
we keep knowing the same people, too. Every time I turn around, like, you know, I'm like, yes. I'm like, my girl.
but I remember when you
that's
was
like
on that
unofficially my
carpet, you
mentor.
aspiring. And now you're not aspiring, you're inspiring, okay? Because you're not wishing and hoping. You made your dreams become a reality. Because when I look up and I'm watching your posts on Facebook all the time, and you're like, yeah, I remember you first got that BET job. I said, yo, this girl did it. She did it from the mud. I remember her on this carpet trying to figure it out. And she there.
Literally, and I was job hunt, like hopping like crazy. I was working at different companies, didn't like it, quit. And I like all over the place. And I thought that was going to hinder me because you know what they say, you can't, on your resume, you're not supposed to job hop. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't be in certain jobs where I'm not being respected, especially if I'm already taking low pay.
And you know what? We have to understand our power, okay? And if you're not the type of person that can't recognize, you can't utilize. You can't utilize what you don't know is there. We are very powerful people, okay? We can speak stuff, we can manifest stuff, we can write it down, and then boom, put in the work, and then it happens. That is a power that God has given us. And I really believe that people don't understand their power. So because of that, they lean on, okay, I'll just stay here where I'm not being respected, or, oh, no one's giving me the opportunity. Woe is me, you know? And it's just like, hey, you're powerful though. Because at the end of the day, if they're not giving you the opportunity, you do have a window of an opportunity to go and take it. And people always look at, people are so brainwashed through branding. They feel like if you're on that television screen, you must be way more powerful. Yo, every time we jump on into joint, this is TV. All TV is a platform for the audience and the masses is to watch. So this is TV, TikTok is TV, YouTube is TV. Exactly. You get what I'm saying? All of it. And people are just so quick to like, you're only doing well if you're working with the big brands. They never think of themselves like, I'm the big brand. It's me. It's me. And I had to get to that point because again, when you start working with big brands, you do start to forget, kind of like, it's not me, it's them. I had to get back to my mindset. Nika, no, it's you. You spoke this, you manifested, you climbed this high. The power is you. They hired you. You. It is you. And once we realize that, I'm trying to tell you, you'll start to adopt certain things. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. Let me do this from the ground up. Let me start from the top, because
it's literally a mindset change.
Absolutely.
You really have to shift.
You have to be a little bit crazy.
Basically. You have to be borderline delusional. Because the stuff that I thought would never be possible, I'm doing. Back in the day, I was like,
somebody told me one time, and you know, I don't ever think I carry that energy. I just carry a confident energy, because if anybody knows me, I'm super humble. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't really subscribe to all the nonsense. But somebody told me one time, I don't know if you think you're bigger than what you truly are. And at first, when they said it, I don't know, right? But when they first said it, it kind of went one ear, not the other. And I was just like, no, I don't think I'm bigger than what I am. I just believe. And then when I realized it, I was like, no, wait a minute. No, I know who I am before the world knows who I am. I am a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And that's, like you said, you kind of got to get into that delusional. Oprah had to know she was Oprah when that network told her that she didn't even have to face for television. She had to know in that moment, for her not to break and fold and swallow her dreams by the wayside, she had to know in that moment, no, I am going to be who I am. So I encourage everybody to carry that type of mentality. You got to know who you are before the world stamps you. You got to stamp yourself. That's why I tell people, for all those who didn't believe in me, you are forgiven, because I already know where I'm going. You just was on the wrong side of history. Sorry. Sucks for you.
Do you think outside of, just having the grit for this industry, do you think there are like skill sets that people can?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think like there are characteristic traits, and I also think there are skill sets. So I think anybody who has the characteristic traits of being committed and disciplined is going to be successful, because most people in this world can't even be disciplined. They just can't. You know what I mean? If they don't feel good, they ain't going to do it. Bottom line, period. If you can subject yourself to a certain amount of discipline, that no matter what my circumstances are, no matter if I feel good or if I don't, I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to do it anyhow, you will always be successful, and you'll always be a step ahead of all the competition that's around you. But the skill sets is absolutely, I feel like networking is a skill set. If you learn how to communicate better and you know how to genuinely network, you are going to be successful, because relationships and people run this world. So if I can get everybody in this world to put their vote in for me, then I'm going to be successful, because people open the doors for us. To be honest, we do get there, but we always need that ally to you know, help open that door for us. And if you're not a people person and you don't know how to connect with people, it ain't going to happen for you, Bill, unless you just part of the 12.
Being authentic in it too. You can't be in there.
I tell
phony, only
that people all the time. This is why I don't worry about being the most popular. Because my real ones, my network, they go real long. You get what I'm saying? When I call them, they're gonna put my name in the room if I ask them to. That's genuine relationships. And my relationships wasn't built on literally, what can you do for me? Most of my entertainment relationships was built on like, oh, me and you know, this guy that I've been with all my life broke up, and my mentors are calling me, asking, hey, do you need anything? Can I pray for you? That's what my relationships are. They're not like, you know, this bare minimum type of relationships that people have. They have lackluster relationships, just to be completely honest. And it doesn't work, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to pick up the phone for somebody I don't know like that and I don't love like that. You might keep calling me for something, I'm just like, whatever. You know what I mean? But when you can build relationships, yeah. Girl, but when you build a genuine relationship, when you know, hey, this person is a light to this world, and I know that they're a great person, so I will do anything for them. That's the type of relationships you want to build, because those are the type of people that are going to move mountains for you. The only people that will move mountains for you is the people that believe in you. So if you're not genuinely connecting, it doesn't matter. It's shallow, no substance, which is very hard.
And maintaining these relationships too. People meet people. I'm gonna hit you up and don't even talk to these people.
Yeah.
Until months later. Hey, I met you at that one event.
Because as sociable as I am, and as easygoing as I am, and I can walk up and talk to anybody, I'm such a lone wolf at the same time. Like, I don't know where I get that from. I'm like this extrovert, introvert. So I love socializing. I love being a, hey, what's up, y'all? But I also still like walking alone type of lane, just because I know that this is personal. My walk is personal.
I'm the same way. I call it being your selective extrovert. That's what I call it, because I enjoy being in the house by myself. And when my friends invite me out, I hate when they invite me out and expect me to be what they think I am. Like, oh, you always talking to people, you this. I'm like, yeah, but I have to be in a mood for it. When I'm doing it for work, it comes naturally. But it's like, as me by myself, I have to be in a mood for it.
Yo, it's so funny. Like, one of my friends picked me up from the airport like 3 months ago, and she was like, you ain't even talking. You always talking. Like, you're quiet. And what I told her was, no, I'm always talking when you're around me. When I hang up that phone, and when I'm by myself, which is almost 80% of the time, actually, I'm sitting in complete silence, either meditating or I'm thinking. That is the real shy that people don't really understand, because I have to be live and lit and fill up on my energy so that I can pour into other people. So 90% of the time, that's the reason why I like being alone, because I know my energy is pure, and I don't like other people pouring their toxic, negative energies into me, because I can't help people when I got your bad spirits attached to me. So I kind of like to, you know what I'm saying? I kind of like to be, I like to be alone now. I'm always thinking, I don't know, maybe I'm just too much of a deep person, but that's how I am.
No, that's not deep. It's just you have to, I think, because for a living, you're a person who's giving your energy. You can't constantly give your energy 24/7 all the time, 365 days a year. You have to have moments where you need to recharge. And people don't. And people think. And honestly, I want you to speak to this too. People think that's an easy thing. Being a personality and being a TV host, like, oh, you're just talking to people. No, I have to prepare for these interviews.
Whole thing,
I have to prepare myself.
First of all, you got to be built for this.
So I want you to
I tell this to people all the time. You want to be a talent, you got to be built to be a talent, because it's one of the most hardest things that you are ever going to have to face. It's almost like the NBA. And if you're trying to be LeBron, you ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you ain't trying to ride the bench and you're trying to get there, you got to put in so much work. But two, you're faced with so much scrutiny because you are in front of the camera and you're willing to put yourself out there. So you got to be tough as bricks, because people are going to come shooting. I don't like your content like that. Oh, it's trash. Oh, I don't like the way you presented that story. Oh, this. Oh, that. You got to constantly be filling your head with that. And you have to be confident in knowing you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. That's why I'm in front of this camera and you're not. Okay? So, right. So that's why I tell people, like, if you want to get in this game, make sure, if you want to be talented, that you have top-notch confidence. because people are going to try to knock you off your A game. They do it all the time. And then people start getting, you know, I would say envious, just of the confidence. It don't even got to be because you're getting things. It could just be of that confidence. And what they do is they're going to try to feed into you and try to say, well, maybe you need to do something different if you didn't make it already, because it's clearly and obvious something that you're doing is not working. You know, just try to put that self-doubt in your mind. So you got to be you're confident, because I'm trying to tell you, it would take you out. And then let's not talk about the lack of finances. So when you're lacking in finances and you're in survival mode and you're also trying to be the talent, you know, people think you're always on. So if you're struggling, they don't understand. They're like, why are you struggling? We see you on TV. I don't understand. What are you doing? And it's just like, just fame, imagery does not equate to wealth. Please. And that's the reason why I said, hey, I want to take this season off to focus on the business. Okay? Because those are two different things. You can be in front of this camera all day long and be extra broke. I know. I know.
I mean, I hate that people still don't understand that TLC stole all the records and we're
So
still
it's a lot of pressure. But if you're in it for the right reasons and you're smart and you gain wisdom along the way, you'll be able to, you know, get yourself together and maximize this thing to the best of your ability. But girl, it ain't no joke.
Is there anything you do to try to stay up to date on industry trends? Like, I know you're technically part of the industry.
To be honest, like, I just read like the blogs and I read people's comments. I'm big on, after the story is presented, reading what the audience feels and how the audience feels. That's how it helps me be a better personality. Because if I can understand who I'm talking to, then I can deliver it in the way that's going to connect to you. So I'm more into girl. Girl,
seen the Facebook post. The girls be
Instagram people. I've let y'all know right now, Facebook is lit. But that's the reason why I'm on Facebook like that. You know, it's an old people's site, but because people are so willing to share introspection and just share their experiences, that's the reason why you gotta be tapped in. You gotta be tapped in. You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, there's another thing that I do to just keep myself up to date is to make sure, and this is like kind of like something off the back end, I also won't subscribe to the blog. So every day I'll be on a blog, and then maybe 3 days straight I won't be on the blog. You know why? Because it's important that I'm not following the crowd, but I'm leading the crowd. I'm very big on that. I don't like being persuaded by peer pressure. I don't like moving how everybody moves. If I move like that, it's because it's me, and that's because I wanted to do it. I'm a leader first. And what happens is when you're so, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're so involved, you know, in this world, you lose identity. You lose identity. It gets to the point where all the girls are the same. I'm keeping it real. You get what I'm saying? Where it's just like, what do you really stand for? Because you just like the next girl.
It is.
And this girl's like the next girl. And our men too. And you sound just like him. And you sound, where's the uniqueness? How can I separate? And that's the reason why I clock out, because I need to make sure that I'm staying separate. Because y'all need to see Shynieka, not, oh, she's like the rest of the girls. No, I'm not. And I know a lot of women say it, and they're going to be like, well, every woman says they're not the same. Yeah, well, I want to make sure that I'm not the same.
No. I definitely know you're not. Because there are some industry girls that I know as just like, I'll put them all in a group, and I'll just be like, girl, y'all. I try to follow people who are doing what I want to do, and I aspire to more so because of their personality, how they started. And I like women who look like me. I need to see more women who look like me and come from my background. That's an energy. Also, like, just trying to make it. Because when I see people who had opportunities, you were able to do internships at college. So it's sailing for you. I can't subscribe to that. I can't look up to that. I'm not inspired by that. I need someone
it's an energy
for themselves,
right? So and like you said, like finding that energy in this entertainment industry is really hard, because the reality is a lot of people are faking their mud stories. They didn't really come from the mud. They had a whole team since they came out the womb. Actually, a lot of people were groomed for being in the industry already. The only reason why they're getting chosen is because who their dad is or who their auntie is, and because of this, that, and the third. It's not because they worked their way up here. It's because they know whoever they know. And those two type of individuals are different type of individuals. It's just the reality of it.
And I hate to see that when I see some people like on the red carpet hosting. Why are you here? This could have been an opportunity for somebody who really
I'm gonna
wanted
keep
to
it 100.
get
I don't know why
$20.
God places people
You're
where He
somebody's
does,
kid.
and they may need it. They may need that confidence boost, or God is like, well, I need to make sure their path is like this because I already understand they ain't even built for the other path. So I never get upset when I see that. It only gives me more motivation. Nika, you got to go harder because there are people in front of you based upon circumstances. So how the heck you gonna get there? That means you got to go harder. So I just use it as another advantage for myself because if I can't be out hustled or if I can't be outworked, then everything that I want is going to come to me no matter what everybody else is getting. You know, it don't matter because, you know, so I kind of try to keep that mentality just because, girl, it will take you out. Because I know when I first got in, I was like that and I was crying all the time and I was always trying to ask God, like, yeah, because I was always like,
with your mentality, like me, I was say I've never had anxiety until I started pursuing this industry full time. Now everything I do, I just be like, oh my God, I'm not good enough, or why am I good in this? And a lot of it was from like my lack of confidence too. Sometimes
that very well may be the reason.
The way I speak, or
we
all
have to
these things.
be real. We have to be real about that. We can't live in that false reality. Sometimes the way we look is the way why we're rejected. The way we speak is why we're rejected. Our energy is why we're rejected. But the bottom line is, although you may reject me, there's still a table waiting for me. And if that table ain't waiting for me, I'm telling you right now, baby, I'm gonna build my table because I'm gonna eat, whether you think I should eat or not. You know, and my legacy depends on me going hard. My future children that I want one day, they depend on me not folding. My future husband is depending on me to be the best woman that I can be to make sure that I can self-sustain myself in the union. I think that honestly, that's what I think about all the time. Right before I turn around, I'm like, dang, when you have a child one day, are you going to say that could have been me and show your children all the things that built? I'm sorry, I cannot go out like that. When I have a child one day, I want to be able to be like, this is what mommy did, so that you can have the network, so that you can walk in buildings because of my last name. Well, not my last name, my husband's last name, but you get what I'm saying. I want to be very clear because I'm not a baby mama.
I agree. That's another conversation for another day. Because when the girls say they not having babies until they married,
but
they be in the comments going nuts.
But I'm sorry. I feel like my life is already hard. I can't adopt that struggle. I'm no shade to anybody who's. I just, you know, and I get it. Like,
why?
Girl, and then not only that, you know how like people be like, well, there's no 100% that marriage is gonna work. You're right, but the risk is so much more.
But he can't just run off though.
But not only that, the way it's more of a guaranteed success. I know I'm gonna die anyway, but I'm not just gonna jump off the bridge to do it earlier. You get what I'm saying? Like, let's be real, dog. Like, okay, and I can't choose that struggle because let me tell you, let a Negro do that to me. How he be having these baby moms, that's crazy. Girl, I've been in somebody's jail cell already because you're not about to play with my life.
Especially this industry, I can't go like that.
Girl,
I can't
another thing. I got like a G. I honestly always think like, what will my parents think? Oh, you just a baby. What would the world think?
I put a lot of work in to get here. I'm not gonna say so much because so much more to do. I put a lot of work to get here. For me to go out like that, the girls are gonna be like, "Girl, you talked all that mess." It's like, but like you said, like even with your kids, like I'm so prideful to the point where it's my ego keeping me going because I'm like, I done came this far. It would be nuts for me to give up now and go back to something else.
You could have did that at 21. You could have did that at 18. Okay. You should struggle back then. Like once you get to a certain age, you shouldn't be. We should be growing and understanding and learning. Now, for those who don't believe in that, that's fine. Do y'all thing. But since I believe a certain way, I have to move accordingly. And that's what I realized too. That's hard in this industry because I feel like as long as you have integrity, the road is always going to be harder. It's easy. It's really easy to, you know, smut yourself out, slut yourself out, and adopt yourself to whole culture. Because whole culture right now is at an all-time high. I'm not going to lie. And, you know.
And it's starting to leak into what people think is the norm. Like, y'all don't realize,
girl, because people don't. Okay, so the whole Sierra thing, right? And I'm like, I get it, because we in the entertainment industry, and certain things are expected on the red carpets. Like me personally, because I've done so many red carpets and I've seen so many titties and butts and all of that. It don't really, in my mind, it's just go through. Now, would I do it? Absolutely not. Because one, I have PTSD from my mama's beatings. I swear to beans, if she ever saw me walking like that, I already know she's like, get the switch. I don't care how old you are, okay? But two, that's just because I know for me personally, that's just nothing I would do and normalize. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not my movement. That's not my thing. So for people to really be arguing like, oh, well, I feel like somebody should be, because this is the whole debate. Oh, men are insecure because they should be proud that their woman is that confident to show off what? Nakedness? Because let me tell you something. Let a man be next to me and he think he going to be all up in women's faces. That ain't happening over here. That might happen for your low vibrational energy, but that's not happening over here, you know?
Yeah. And I hate when people try to impose what they think should be the one all rule for everybody. Like, everything doesn't work for everybody. Like, what I would want to wear to the red carpet ain't got nothing to do with her. Like, I saw someone's post that I had mixed feelings. I said, I'm all for everybody wear anything. I said, and if her husband don't care, why do we? But then I also was like, but I said, I'm kind of disappointed in Sia because she has been a person who's beautiful.
Yeah.
And she can show that beauty without it. Even though I guess that was the theme of the party they were going to. But I feel like she took the easy cop out because she really be wearing some good stuff. She be giving like style icon. So I would have loved to see a twist, modest twist she would have put on.
We're also living in a society where you can't have an opinion on anything. And because I am a personality host, I have an opinion on everything. And I'm going to state my opinion. And I feel like certain people, like you said, it was just unexpected just because of what her brand is. Now, if she wants to step outside of that brand, okay, do your thing. But it is going to come with a lot of criticism because it's just like if Felicia Rashad did it. Claire Huxtable,
you're doing something like that's not expected of you. Yeah, I think that's what people don't really understand. It's like, this is not because of Sierra. This is not something she typically does. No. So it's kind of like, girl,
okay, or just like, you know, it's just like you don't expect certain people to be on that Bernice Burgos time. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, and it used to be a difference. But you know what's so funny? I was listening to, like, because this really been a topic, okay? So I was like going through some topics, and one man said this, and that's when I was like, it's getting real out here, and we got to make sure we don't adopt whole culture. He said, see, the problem is with our women is we can't tell who the good women are and who the hoes are because the good women are standing too close to the hoes. And he was like, it's just like if you're walking in a lion's den. You don't know which one is going to bite you because you're assuming they're all lions because they're standing too close together. And I was just like, and that struck me hard. Right.
That's why
and you be looking like you hurt. But now I'm starting to understand that perspective, like, of separation. Remember what I told you? I didn't want to be like everybody else. I want to keep my own identity. And that's what I'm saying. Like, don't be so easy to conform to the peer pressures because everybody else is normalizing it. If they want to normalize it, cool. And even if you want to do it because you want to do it, not because you feel like you're pressured to do it. Because you do start feeling more pressure to. Do you have to be a little bit more sexy? Do you have to show a little bit more skin? No, you don't. No, you don't have to. You don't.
I'm a tomboy. I hate heels. I can't hold my weight up. And so when I go to events, especially in New York City, and I'll be like seeing the girls and that stuff, I'll be pulling up with my sneakers, my jeans, my hair is laid. But
low key, as whatever as people may think I am, like in the heart, like I'm such a girly girl. Like, I don't like sneakers. I like wearing heels. You know, I hate when my nails are not done.
I've seen you on a whole
girl. Like, I'm such a I like to get dressed. It might be the Leo in me. I'm so like, but I'm still not prissy though, low key, and that's probably just because of how I was raised. So you know, low key, I'm not bougie, It's not that I'm bougie. I like to get dressed up. And it's so funny because somebody told me, like, it was so funny. They were like, yo,
Like
when you started talking,
mm-hmm.
I didn't match what I was saying. They said, I thought you were going to start talking like that. And then you were just like, yo, what's up? Like, weird. So,
and then
so that's what I would say. Like, I just like getting dressed up. But low key, I'm not I am the homebody girl. I always got a scarf. If I'm not jumping on this camera, I'm not going to lie. If I'm in the house, the only way. When I'm in the house, you would never be able to tell. I have a scarf on, sweatpants, the hoodie, you know, with a popcorn.
Bonnets, sweatshirt, I got fluffy socks on now.
Yeah,
I'll be chilling.
Right. Now I gotta.
So
you know what I'm saying? But you know, me too. At the same time, I do like to, like, you know, dress up and take pictures and do all of that. But I'm just saying, like, it could be deceiving because I'm such a girly girl when it's time to present myself. But low key, bye, girl. I'm gonna make up until I jump in front of the camera.
Well, going back to the branding, how do you find that balance of who you are?
I think that I just remain. I think I've always kind of like been unique, like, to be completely honest, like even as a child. So to find the balance, girl, I just remain who I am. Me being a host is the same. It's the same Nika. Like, well, y'all from me, but you know, it's the same. Like, girl, like I don't switch. The only switch that I do is presentation. Like, you know, I try to look presentable to the best of my ability, but there's no code switching with me. What you see is what you get. That's the reason why I like reporting the stories the way I do it. Because I've always said, like, if I have to be fake or I have to jump into a little, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to do it. I only want to do it if I can be me. So there really isn't a switch. Girl, how I am, that's how I am.
Do you have a favorite type of content that you like to produce?
What do you mean content? What do you mean?
Like, so you've done the stuff with TMZ, but you also done interviews, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you
that's my favorite. Low key, I'm a preacher.
So I feel like
my friends know this about me. Like, they will call me, I got a sermon in the morning. So my favorite content out of all is motivation. I love inspiring people, and not only do I love inspiring people, I feel like I'm doing God's work, and I feel like that is what ignites me. That's the reason why I got in this game, because I wanted people to understand that look where God has taken me, and he can take you too if you just believe. And when you believe in him, he gives you a different type of favor, and he gives you a different type of power that now you can believe in yourself. So that's why I got in the game. So that's my favorite, because that is me tapping into my real purpose energy. Like, yeah, talking about pop culture is cool, but it's not impactful, and it don't move. It don't move anything, because it's not really a healer. It can't really help people like that. So that's the reason why I like motivating the most and talking about motivation content, because this can actually help people if you're providing them the tools necessary to not only be successful, but to be whole and to be full, you know, and to protect them. Because one thing I realized is that when I first got in this game, I was so naive, because I grew up sheltered. You know, my parents didn't play that. I was never a street woman. You know, that's just never what I was. And I was so naive that I was so, like, I didn't provide the extra protection. And I feel like a lot of my pain and my hurt came from me being naive, because I felt like if you're kind, everybody else is kind. Or if your soul is like this and you're pouring great energy, everybody else is going to return that to you. That is not the case. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a while to realize that.
So you're going to attract more evil people.
Yeah.
You're going to attract more evil people being that way.
Yeah, no, I used to be like, use you and take advantage of you for your gifts, because I have this thing where, and I tell this to people all the time, because I'm so rooted in my faith, I understand forgiveness. And I understand that you may right now be going through a dark time. You might not be intentionally doing things to hurt me, but you're just a hurt person. And because I can see through all of that, I won't say I give chances, but I have compassion. Just the way God has compassion with us to get it right, I have compassion with my fellow people. But what I realized, when people realize that, they just take advantage of it. You know, like, they'll just be like, well, because, you know, you're more kind and I know you're not a savage, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to run you through the dirt and move you. And let's best believe, though, although I'm a Christian, God-fearing woman, I'm from the east side of heaven. You can't play with me for too long.
Period.
You can't play
the east side of heaven is sending
because then after a while, then the Leo really does come out, and then now I'm facing losing my religion and my soul salvation because you wanted to play with me. So so all that being said is protect the goodness of you and protect your heart. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, this is why you have my connection with God, because I'm like, dang, yo, I still have a pure, innocent, loving, I still love as hard as if I was never hurt. And honestly, I've probably been betrayed in the craziest ways that y'all would have ever imagined. You know what I mean? And as I, whatever go along, people will know more about my journey. But, betrayal has been a real thing and has shown up in my life time and time again. And it only has come from my loved ones. And that really hurt me, coming up. Because I'm like, dang, like, I would never, like, I'll ride for my people. When I love you, it's not even when I love you. I just feel like, I rock with you.
I don't have a balance. It's either I love you or I don't care for you. It's like, it's one or the other. I feel like I don't have space. And pursuing in this industry, I feel like I don't have time either to teach people how to be a friend. I need to know that we are here. The relationship is going to be reciprocal, because as I'm moving up, I want to know who's with me so that when stuff gets too foggy, I have home I could go back to, the people who's going to keep me grounded and remind me.
Girl, you know what else I realized too, though? And this is where that whole like compassion come from. A lot of people don't know how to be a friend because no one showed them how to be a friend. They ain't never had no good friends. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes people, they don't even know what they're doing. You're a trashy friend because no one's ever taught you how to be a real one. So I tried to you just gotta draw that line. Once you know somebody's a little funky, just make sure they're not coming up too close to the point where they can step on your heart and tear you up, and now you're cold. Because that's where a lot of people turn cold at. People didn't come in this world cold. We come in as innocent children ready to love. And when someone comes and betrays and stabs you in the back, they build a wolf. And that wolf, what that wolf do? Go and betray and stab somebody else in the back. Go and betray. And that's why I said I want to keep this protected, because I never want to. I feel like the best thing about me and my personality, forget the hosting, and all that stuff. The best thing about me is my loyalty and my love. It goes long and it goes hard. I swear to beans, I've done it before. I went homeless with people. I picked people up, that was homeless. And it goes so deep, and I want to be able to keep that, because I feel like that's also my gift to the world. That's my gift. That's my gift. People. Yeah.
Some people they are still pure.
It's definitely a gift. So you gotta protect it. And no matter what, because I know I've been faced with I've had that conversation with me. Like, you know what? I can do this by myself. I can be by myself. I'm never talking to anybody else again. Leave me alone. I just want to work hard and I just want to win. And y'all are causing extra pain. But what I've realized is that when you have a certain type of gift, or you feel like you have a certain type of calling, I feel like God expects you to show up the way other people can't. It's not even that, that they don't have the ability. They can't, because that's not the gift God gave them. So you got to show that forgiving spirit. And it's hard because, and forgive again is for yourself. It's not for the other person. But like me personally, when someone strikes me hard, it's even hard for me to look that person in the eye. That's how painful it is. And it's not because I'm being smart and I just want to cut you off. I can't look you in the eye because I can't believe you did that to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not only that, I'm trying to figure out whether or not I need to protect myself from you. Are you a wolf in sheep clothing? And is me giving you access to my energy going to subject me to further pain? Because I don't want to do that. I don't think that's smart. So there's a balance that you have to do, but I'm saying it is extremely hard because I had to forgive people and pray for people that don't even know that I'm praying for them. They might stab me in the back and they didn't even realize, like, low key, even though you can't be in my space no more because you're a liability, I still went ahead and prayed for you. And I still love you. I still love you.
I think that's a good mindset mindset that you adopted, because also navigating the industry, you're going to meet people who's going to operate that way. But by you not taking it personally and still be able to forgive, you're going to always come out on top. And you're always going to have people will always want to work with you because they know, like, oh, like, you know, she got thick skin, or she's pretty forgiving. I mean, I'm forgiving, not pussy, is a different thing. But let's make that clear. But I feel like you already addressed like a low point for you so far. What has been the highest point in your career, and what did you learn from it? So
that's a tough one. I've had a lot of high moments. I will say this though. In my career, I think the highest was, I would say E. E was highest. And the reason why I would say that is because my contract had ended. I was a host on TMZ No Filter, and we signed a 3-year contract during the pandemic, and then the app crashed and failed. So everybody who signed a contract, like, your show was done because the app was done. Oh. So that left my back against the wall, and I'm like, shoot, like I you know, this is me just started getting my feet, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm about to mess things up now. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, it crashed, and my back was against the wall. I had to go on unemployment, and I'm like, God, like, dang, I did all this sacrificing to get to this point. I don't know what to do. And I don't understand why I was like that, because you do what you've always done. You know what I mean? But in my mind, because I felt like I built so like hard, like to get to a certain level, and then it didn't happen the way I felt like it should have happened, it threw me off. It threw me off because I just knew that this was God ordained. But God be doing his thing low key, right? So I remember sitting in my room, and I'm like, this is where the whole Nika wakes up 3 a.m. came from. So my back was against the wall. I said, okay, you need to find a routine, because now you got to fight. Because you live in Los Angeles, all your people live in Jersey, okay? You out here by yourself, you ain't got no contract. How the heck you gonna make this work for yourself? And I could have went back to a place, but I didn't want to go back to that place because I felt like it didn't pay me enough. And not only it didn't pay me enough, I felt like they just didn't value who I was. And I knew I had outgrew that value of that room. And if you don't value me, after a while, I'm like, that's on you. I gotta go where I'm appreciated. I've always been that way. So my back is against the wall, and I was like, God, I can't go back there because you already know it's stagnant to my growth and where you need me to be. So what we about to do? Girl, I was sitting on my bed. I'll never forget this. And I get all these calls coming in. Mind you, I talk to them like I'm talking to you right now. They're probably so sick of my sermons, right? So I'm talking, like, all these calls coming in. I'm talking to my friends like, yeah, like, you know, how you doing? Okay, cool. We gonna get up. We gonna try to figure this thing out. Girl, when I tell you, I sat on that bed and I wrote on my notebook. I have friends that can attest to this. I said, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I look at hosts and where I want to end up. And I look at the networks and where I want to end up. All I have to do is get to E. If I could just get to E. I'm just thinking this, girl. And I was like, all I got to do is get to E. If I could just get there, that can give me a push in my resume, and it can help funnel other things for me. I just need to get there. God help me. And I wrote it down. And maybe like a week went by, and then 2 weeks went by, and I'm telling my friends, and they were like, yeah, what else you got going on? I said, I just need to focus, but I just need to get to E. I swear, God struck me down right now if I'm telling the story. Yo, I was on Facebook, and then here's a little key for everybody who want to be a host. There's a group called Host in LA. You need to join it. You need to join communities where there are people like yourself. Yeah, join it. And so I went in a Facebook group, and it was like auditions to guest host on E! News. I swear to y'all. And it gives me chills telling this story because I said, okay. But I was late. So when it was posted, I said, oh, shoot, they've been looking for people. Oh, Sap, I'm late. So I remember being on my bed, and I was like, you can't wait any longer. I think I was like a week late. I was like, you can't wait any longer. They probably got submissions coming crazy. Your submission is going to get lost. You just got to do what they said do. So basically, they wanted you to present a show that you would do. I didn't have time to be creative, okay? I needed to submit right then and there. So I'm thinking, like, I don't got time to sit on my... I said, no. So I did was I took my TMZ No Filter clips, the show that I just got off of, like, 7 months ago. I could have done that because I had a show on Mad Talking. It was called Have Several Seats. That joint was lit. But anyway, That show that I just got off of was similar to the show that they wanted the audition for. So what I did was I just chopped up my clips and I put that together. And it looked like a whole different type of show with a little twist. And I said, well, that's similar to the show, so here's your little twist. And I submitted it. But my back was so much against the wall because there was no money coming in. I'm living in LA. And, you know, the first thing your parents want to say is, well, that's it. Come home. Get a 9 to 5. So, you know, they still in that. So I'm like, yeah, I ain't calling them. So I remember submitting that, and I just put it away. And I'm still waking up 3 in the morning, still talking to God, manifesting like, okay, what else are we going to do? Still looking for jobs, applying. I applied to Los Angeles host the Lakers. Didn't get it. You know, applied to the daggone Los Angeles host for the Sparks. Didn't get it. Like, that's what I'm talking about. People don't see that, how much time rejection. Mind you, I didn't even get in the room. I couldn't even showcase my skills, okay? Because I didn't get past the door. So at this point, it's messing with my mind because my contract got lost, and I felt like the industry, that's what I felt like, was trying to block me out. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. I went homeless for this. So I remember after that week went by, I got a phone call, girl. And I picked up the phone, and it was E. And they were like, we like your tape. We got so many submissions, but you are it. We want to audition. We want you to audition. We want to interview. That was kind of like the audition. It was like, yo, we want to interview with you. So I was like, straight. So I called. His name is Shane Farley. And I always give him my respect because on No Filter, he was my showrunner. And what he did was he coached me, and he made me a better host. The host that y'all see, who I am today, half of that is me, and the other half is Shane, because he taught me how to be a more polished and professional and how I was going to be able to be distinctive in this industry. So he brought that out of me. So I called him when this happened. I said, hey, Shane, I got a perfect opportunity. Remember, I told you my networking goes long. Them people ride for me, and I ride for them. And he's from Jersey, white guy from Jersey. So he like, okay, this is how you going to interview, and this is how you going to do it. And I believe in you. We spent some time on the phone. I said, okay, cool. So that left, got on that interview call, and I didn't even have to wait for the news. After my interview, I interviewed exactly the way he said to interview. And they told me, we like you, and we want you to come in. And when I tell you at that moment, and it brings me chills to tell this story because people be really like thinking like it ain't no fight. Yo, it's a fight. And when I tell you in that moment, I knew I was favored by God. And that was the highest moment for me because I knew if you can't figure it out, and when your circumstances look like it's over, and when it looks like you have to go home because you ain't got nothing else left, God is like, don't even worry about it. You did my work so much. And you've been obedient so much. I'm coming through for you. And when I look at that time, I'm like, yo, because I really thought at one point, I'm like, it might be over. The simple fact of the matter, whatever I spoke came in less than 2 weeks. I can't explain that feeling to people, and I never will be able to. You got to experience it for yourself. But that right there, I hate crying on camera, y'all. I swear I'm a thug. Don't worry about the feeling. But that moment right there was my highest moment because at that point I knew I was undefeated and I'm unbeatable. I'm not unbeatable because of who I am. I'm unbeatable because of the God I serve. Because he's bigger than all the doors closing on me. And when this one is closing and that one is closing, he opens up. So when I can't get through the doors with the Lakers and I can't get through the doors with the Sparks, it's because you're shooting in an area that ain't even meant for you. Shy, you would have got that. You would have been looking at me.
Because your purpose was bigger.
I need you over here. And it came full circle, girl. And then, like, after I was there, like, the testimony keeps going because then I was able to come back and do a whole Black History thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, at E. And talk about nothing but Black news and did it in a Black way. When I present it, it's going to be Black. Okay? And that to me let me realize that not only is God looking out for me, hey, I'm going to be able to put you in a room and you're going to be able to be authentic to who you are. And it's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be able to be authentic to who you are. You ain't going to have to change. You ain't going to have to compromise. You ain't got to compromise your integrity. You are it. And me